Good afternoon and salam alaikum. My name is Lakshmanan. I am the chairman of the Institute of Company Secretaries of India, ICSA, Middle East, BIFC, and PIO. A warm welcome to all of you, those CS professionals and those aspiring to be a CS professional. It gives me immense pleasure to bring you the second in series of the CS overseas opportunities. The Institute had already done one last year covering Australia and New Zealand markets. And this session is going to be focusing on the overseas opportunities market in UAE. And today I am joined by an esteemed panel and Mr. C.S. N.P.S. Chawla, Chairman of the International Affairs Committee, and C.S. Rupanjana De, Council Member of ICSI. Both, will be doing a short speech, followed by my co-panelist with wealth of experience, about 40 years of, experience in the UAE in terms of, company secretary, corporate governance professionals, Mr. Narasimha Das, Partner Crow, Mr. C.S. Raghavendra Verma, Chief Legal and Compliance Officer, ISON Experiences, and Ms. C.S. Kavita, Risk and Compliance Manager, MPK Auditing UAE. Before we, dive into the session, it's going to be for about 2 hours. Let me, brief of the rules that please put your phone on mute. The event is being recorded, and we request members, attendees, to put your questions on the chat box, so that we can pick up those questions and answer them as much as possible within the allocated time. The session is going to be for about 2 hours. So please, whatever questions you have, start, shooting them out, and the team behind the scenes will, obviously share it with us. So in terms of, the CS opportunities overseas in UAE, this is a perfect thing for the simple reason that Middle East, ICSI Middle East UAE chapter, is the first overseas chapter of the Institute of Company Secretaries, and we are very honored. We had our grand opening on the 10th of December 2019, so about 4 years ago. And being the first overseas chapter, we've also done a number of things. We have had, regular sessions in terms of study circle and periodic events, which we have been hosting on professional development programs. And there is a big group of, company secretaries in the UAE, and we have been able to garner them together. And the long-cherished ambition of the ICSI to establish overseas presence was done about 4 years ago. In addition to that, the local chapter has also done international events, bringing people not only from India, from elsewhere. Last 2 years, we have been doing those events, and we will continue to do those annual events to further the professionals here in the UAE and even beyond, as and when assistance is required by the ICSI. So today's session about CS opportunities in UAE coming at a perfect time, and I want to give you a bit of background about UAE as a starter. And UAE is part of the Gulf Cooperation Council, GCC countries, and the UAE is about 507 trillion dollars, in terms of the GDP. Sorry, $507 billion in terms of GDP, and it's one of the largest economy apart from Saudi Arabia, where from a GDP perspective, it corners about 23% in the GCC. So that's a very significant. And equally significant is, the relationship of UAE and India has been there for, decades. And over the last 10 years in particular, our relationship has been, moving on to a different level. And I think that is clearly visible with the kind of, relationship between the leaders of the country and the president of the UAE and the prime minister of India levels in terms of number of initiatives which has been done. So that sets, the sort of right framework for us, as Indians, as India, to, collaborate with. And the trade relationship has been, going on, as I said, for decades, not centuries. And that has been, further enhanced by the recent comprehensive economic partnership agreement, which, UAE and India signed on February 18, 2022. And effectively that came into force from 1st of May, 2022, with, the trade levels currently standing close to about $80 billion, both ways together, and wanting to push that to beyond $100 billion. And that seems to be an achievable target, because we've already moved in the last 1 year post-COVID a significant amount in terms of growth. And in terms of the UAE economy, the way it is currently positioned, again, to give you sort of a background, the GDP of the country predominantly is coming from the crude and petroleum sector, which is about 27% of the GDP. Though there is a big move in terms of, the government to move away from the oil and, look at alternative energy resources. Manufacturing takes about 11%, and as well as, about 9% financial services, and construction and real estate takes about 13%. So these are the significant, and UAE is a port for trading, and we have, fantastic network in terms of trade ports, airports, and etc. The huge infrastructure, which is again helping the UAE to grow significantly. And so this is the sort of background in terms of the UAE today, and we will be dwelling upon in details the opportunities for the members through this discussion. And with this initial introduction note, I also want to say that UAE has got also a unique position in terms of the legal system, which obviously as company secretaries, professionals, we would like to be, because we are involved in that, we are working in that area. And that is, there is a federal system at the UAE level, and then there's a local system at the respective Emirates level, consisting of about 7 Emirates. And in terms of, the legal system, you obviously have in the financial centers of Dubai International Financial Center and the Abu Dhabi Global Market, the 2 financial centers, the English common law would apply, and the rest of the cases, the civil law. So obviously, from a company secretary or legal perspective, governance professional will have to, understand that, there's a civil law and a common law, which is, uniquely positioned in terms of the country. And that also, that unique positioning with also about, 40 odd free zones, which are operating in UAE, also gives an opportunity. Each of these free zones also have their set of regulations. So from a compliance and governance perspective, you can imagine the magnitude of, the regulations across each of these free zones and the mainland and etc. So that, we are able to, understand this and contribute to this. With this, initial, comments, I will now leave the floor to Mr. C.S. N.P.S. Chawla, Chairman of the International Affairs Committee, to say a few words. Over to you, Mr. Chawla.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Lakshmanan, for moderating this program and for taking charge of our Middle East chapter, as we say it, overseas center in Dubai, and being the chairman this year. I would, at the outset, on behalf of the institute, thank you for you to take out time and spearheading this initiative. Friends, at the outset, wishing you all a very happy new year on behalf of the institute and particularly our International Affairs Committee. As Mr. Lakshmanan pointed out, that we have had this one overseas CS overseas opportunities webinar for Australia and New Zealand already, and in fact we intend to cover all the 6 overseas center. We have overseas, as we all know, overseas centers in Canada, Australia, US, UK, Singapore, and Middle East. Australia, we have already covered. Canada, we are again in talks. We were thinking we'll be able to do it in January, but maybe January end or February, we'll have it in Canada also. Many Indians are going to Canada, so certainly we need to have one CS overseas opportunities webinar there. In fact, this CS overseas tagline, the name was coined by my council colleague, senior council colleague, Mr. C. Dwarkanath from Bangalore, when we were having our International Affairs Committee. And this idea came to our mind that we should first create a platform where we have all our members who are abroad. So we have about 800 members, company secretaries. As we all know, we have 72,000 company secretaries across the globe, and we are the largest institute to have so many members globally. And ICSI is the spearheading as far as the company secretaries globally are concerned. In fact, our tagline has always been CS, a preferred professional. My earlier past president, Mr. Devinder Deshpande, coined this term. And I'm sure Mr. Verma, one of the panelists, also knows about this, that now this time we have changed the theme. And now we say that CS is a global professional, in addition to being a preferred professional. And that's how, with this background, we created one platform of CS Overseas where we were collating the data of all company secretaries in whatever field they are. Maybe the students, CS students who left the CS course in between, but now they are working somewhere abroad. So we tried to bring them on one platform. We have created a repository, we have created a database, and taking a cue from there, we also did one special G20 on the lines of G20 special session, international session at our national convention, which was held at Varanasi this year, which was really appreciated, because what we are trying to do is that we need to not only share the opportunities, we'll have to also share the challenges. This is what I requested all the panelists today, that showing rosy picture is not enough. If somebody has to take a call and go abroad and make a move of career move, then one must know what challenges they'll have to face, and one must prepare for that as well. And in advance itself, they'll have to prepare. And keeping this in mind, I must share for a couple of minutes of what we are doing as far as your institute is concerned. For international recognition, we have an MOU with the CJI, which was earlier ICSA, where they give reciprocal exemptions to us. And we also have recently entered into a tie-up and MOU with CISI, where they make our members their member, and obviously at a concessional fee as well. MACS, the Malaysian Institute, where I and my past president, Mr. Ranjit Pandey, visited, and we convinced them about our credentials. And they adopted our secretarial standards, which we drafted, which was ultimately given a statutory recognition also under the Indian Companies Act. And they adopted our secretarial standards. And same way, we also have got recognition and tie-up with CSIA, IVSC, which is the evaluation institution, and also the ICGN. And so keeping this, in fact, I got a call from one of the members who is thinking to shift to Canada. His son is in Canada. And I said, we'll soon be doing a webinar for opportunities in Canada. But my hand-folded request to all members, young members particularly, who are very keen to go abroad and explore the opportunities which are available globally for them. The request is one, which I make, and I make this request to even my trainees who join my office here, that sky is the limit for us. Sky is the limit. That limit is limitless, and that limitless limit is our limit. But if we only confine ourselves to the domain which we have studied predominantly, which may be secretarial, which may be company law, which may be security law, then there is a problem. If we are able to develop a skill set, then there is no dearth of opportunities. May it be in Australia, may it be in New Zealand, may it be US, may it be UK, may it be anywhere else. In fact, one of the examples which I have is my council colleague, very dynamic council colleague, Rupanjana ma'am. So Miss Rupanjana, in fact, had worked in Dubai. She had lived in Dubai. She got offered for working in Dubai earlier. She is otherwise a triple master's degree from Europe also, from Germany also, and from Netherlands also. So she has traveled across the globe. That's how I requested Rupanjana also to today join and share her perspective as to what she feels is the kind of opportunities available for our members. And that's what I have already requested Lakshmananji and all other panelists, that please don't only give the rosy picture, must share the challenges so that we can prepare from today itself. If members who are attending this program sitting here in India, if they are working somewhere or if they are into their practice today, because Middle East is such a great opportunity. In fact, particularly after the introduction of the corporate tax there, I remember I visited Middle East. I visited Dubai in the year 2017 or 18, 2018 probably, when the GST was introduced. And that time itself, the opportunity was, many people thought to shift to Middle East. But now, in fact, I know many professions have already shifted. Many company secretaries I know, they almost, I think, 200 company secretaries are there, Indian company secretaries who are already there, who have made Dubai or Middle East as their place of working, and they are doing excellently well. In fact, members there are very, very cooperative. They are always available for any discussion, any help. But what is required is strategic planning. If somebody wants to shift, somebody wants to move to Middle East or to any other country, must know the challenges, must start preparing on the same, must start the preparation from today itself, without leaving the job, in India, or without leaving the practice in India. Must prepare, must have a strategy in place, and then go abroad. That's my initial remarks. Your institute is always available for any and all suggestions which can be given by you. I, also thank our most dynamic president, and always available. He's traveling for the last one full week to different states in the country here in India, Mr. Manish Gupta. In fact, from the last Friday, he has been traveling to Cochin, to Coimbatore, to Hyderabad, to different states and cities in South. That's all, Mr. Lakshmanan. At the outset, if required, wherever, whenever required, we'll be always available. Thank you.
Thank you, Chawla ji, for your kind words. And I think you set the tone for the session, Chawla ji. Two standout points. Our profession has gone global, and certainly the way the Indian diaspora has moved around across the globe, not only in terms of this profession, but in terms of taking leadership roles across the globe, whether it could be the Fortune 500 companies or any of those to across the Indian diaspora has been waving their flag across different jurisdictions, including the CS professionals, and we can see that in many other jurisdictions. The second point you made about the skill set development. Yes, it's a CS profession, gives you the qualification, gives you one step, but I think it's obviously the skill set one needs to develop in each markets. One will have to develop those skill set appropriate for those markets. Thank you, Chawla ji. Now I would ask CS Rupanjana De, council member, ICSI, to say a few words.
Hello, Mr. Lakshmanan. I hope I'm properly audible.
Yes.
Am I audible? Yeah.
You are still breaking. So,
pardon?
Your voice is still breaking. So
maybe you can put the video off, Rupanjana, if you can try.
Okay, I'll do that because yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So is it okay now? Is it better now?
Yes. Please go ahead.
Okay. Actually, I'm in a very remote area, so in Northeast. So because of that, maybe the network is a little weak. So the thing is, yes, of course, I have some experience in Dubai, and as my council colleague NPS Chawla has already mentioned, I have traveled around the world. In fact, I did my master thesis on the position of a company secretary, which hardly anybody knows. So I did it in Germany, because Germany as a country, they don't have requirement of a company secretary. So that is one of the countries that does not recognize a company secretary. So I was studying there, and then I studied the possibility of having the position introduced in that country also. So thereafter, after earning my master's degree, I joined my husband, and as Mr. Chawla has mentioned, I got a job at Al Futtaim Group. So that was back in 2010, and I got the offer, and then the recognition of CS. I mean, today, thanks to the efforts of our present council, the president, Mr. NPS Chawla, who's heading the International Affairs Committee and who's really doing a great job. We are reaching out to members all over the world, and we are doing great. We are trying to do the best in branding ICSI and CS members. But back then, I'm talking about 14 years back. Back then, it was not so much, as you can imagine, and we had less than 30,000 members. Today, we are standing at 72,000 members. So we really have visibility. We have come a long way, and we have treaded into so many here and before untreaded paths and areas. So traditionally, we have been looking into only Companies Act today we are into so many different domains. So which is the great thing, because when I got the job in Dubai, there was no concept of a company secretary, of course. I got a job in the legal department, and that was obviously based on my law qualification as well as my company law, CS qualification. And so that was it was still like some of the very senior members of the organization knew about CS. But today I know with the efforts of the Dubai chapter and all other overseas chapter, the institute is spreading its wings all over the world. And there are definitely a lot of opportunities. And yes, as NPS has also mentioned, there are definitely challenges also. So I'll just share another story. Like at that time when I got the job, my past MT management trainee also got an offer from DDamas. So he was just asking me like, how is it? Like, should I join and all that? So then he again also, did not get the opportunity as a company secretary, of course, but in a legal position. But then I have one opinion is that we as a professional qualification, CS as a professional qualification is a little different from our two sister institute professions, the chartered accountants and the cost accountants. The difference is that, normally the name of the qualification and the name of the designation we hold is the same. So that is what actually becomes confusing for at least the young members, the entrants, because the chartered accountant never gets a designation called chartered accountant, and a cost accountant does not get a designation called cost accountant. So naturally they tend to explore many areas. But for us, what happens, we naturally tend to explore the role of a company secretary only. So we have to understand, like from my personal experience in overseas market, I would suggest that when you are as a member of the profession, when you're looking for a job, be it in the Middle East, be it in Africa, Europe, America, wherever, I mean, you don't have to get the job of a company secretary. You can get the job of like a corporate legal manager, VP legal or something. And even though that does not mean that you're deviating from your profession, it still remains the same. The name may be different, because if in India, sitting in India, we get both. The qualification is also company secretary, the designation is also company secretary. So that does not necessarily have to be. So that is what I have felt the young generation lacks understanding of this a bit, which creates a lot of confusion, because we tend to think, okay, company secretary designation nahi mil raha hai. So that should not be the blockage. That's a mental blockage that should not happen. And for seniors, that has never been the issue. Our members are holding very good positions, high positions in companies around the world, as we can see from the panel today, panel of speakers today. So that is something that would be my suggestion. There are a lot of opportunities, and today our syllabus is such, includes so much. And I know ESG, I can talk about ESG. I've been consulting on ESG recently in a Middle East company, and I've found that the Middle East, the scope of ESG is also gradually improving. And ESG is something which is more of a qualitative nature, ESG reporting and the entire ESG work. It's less of nothing, not at all of any financial reporting, more of a qualitative and observation reporting. So we company secretaries can really do great in that, and there's a huge scope for ESG professionals in Middle East. And we have a paper in our curriculum today which covers ESG. In fact, our institute is one of the first professional bodies to have a whole subject, whole paper on ESG. And our study material and all is always, we are always regarded as having the best study materials also. So members can refer to those. We also have post-membership qualifications. So in case members are going to a particular jurisdiction which has a scope in a particular area, For example, another area that I'm closely observing is internal audit. And I always feel internal audit is again about governance and risk, which is our forte, our area. But we tend to shy away because we think internal audit is not for us. It is for the accountants and chartered accountants or cost accountants as best. But that is not true. Even engineers are doing internal audit. So it's all about governance and risk. And these opportunities of internal audit also in the Middle East is very high, to my understanding. And in our institute also, we have this post-membership qualification on internal audit. So wherever we tend to shift, because I know of many female members who have over the years reached out to me saying that they are shifting their ways, because many women shift their ways because of the jobs of their husband. That was the case also with me. When you are doing so, you tend to look for an opportunity that is suitable for your qualification. So in that case, maybe whichever jurisdiction you are shifting your base to, look out for the opportunities, the areas of focus in those particular jurisdiction. And then accordingly, in the ICSI has so many PMQs, so many post membership qualifications, so many areas, like we have in CSR, ESG, internal audit, and like every perceivable, whenever there is something new in the market, new keyword, we try to have our own PMQ course in that. So that we can do, and equip ourselves, for a greater, bigger, wider role. And of course, try it out. And we, whenever we are doing that, we every individual who's stepping out of the country and joining some corporation or doing something as a CS, there is a is a vanguard, is a flag bearer of the institute. So a role, it also is a big responsibility for every member also, because you are a flag bearer there. So we will need their help also in future. And as has been rightly mentioned by NPS, that we are the largest body of company secretaries in the world. So we have a great visibility already, and we have to have stick to that quality and that high expectations that is being held from us. And I have heard about the Dubai chapter. It is having a really great initiatives are being done, and I would love to join someday. And with these kind of initiatives, and with the huge market that Middle East is, the sky is the limit. So I'm really sure all will be done under the chairmanship of NPS Chawla, and under the leadership of current chairman, Mr. Lakshmanan. So that's all I had to say, Mr. Lakshmanan. Thank you very much. It was nice hearing you. I may not be online for a long time, because as you can see, the network is not helping me. But then I hope I was audible throughout.
Yes, Rupanjana ji, thank you very much for your address. I think that was an executive summary, I guess, of the session today. I think you've covered quite a bit with your rich experience, not only in UAE, but elsewhere in other parts of the globe. So thank you very much, Rupanjana ji, for that, setting the tone.
Thank you very much.
We now move on to the main part of the session, but I think with the tone set by NPS Chawla ji and Rupanjana ji, I think it makes our life easier with my co-panelists, who have got rich experience. So let me do the way the session is going to run. As we're going to be talking about for the next about say 30 to 40 minutes or so amongst the panelists, each one of them, giving some opening remarks for about say 7-8 minutes each. And then, we will open the panel for discussion and then the questions and answers. But in the meantime, keep your questions flowing, put them on the chat box, and I think we will look at that. Let me now start with my opening remarks in terms of, the serious overseas opportunities in UAE, and let me give my views before I pass it to my colleagues, co-panelists who are here. Interestingly, all four speakers today, including myself, are the founding members of the ICSI Middle East chapter here. It's registered in the DIFC, the Dubai International Financial Center, as an NPIO for not-for-profit entity. And as I said, the journey has begun about 4 years ago, but the seeds were sown perhaps decades ago. And I think many of the past members, who have been here, including the past presidents, had, looked at opening this, and eventually that dream was realized on the 10th of December 2019. So to start this program today, we had a perfect one of the headlines in today's leading newspapers, and that reads about saying nobody wants to leave UAE, and that was based on a survey, global survey done for people who sort of move out or migrate, and interestingly, close to 100%, 99.37 or whatever that percentage was, of set of people living in UAE did not want to leave UAE. So that clearly tells, and the second city in the world is Tokyo, and then there are a couple of more. So UAE is leading that, and we are very happy that we are all making a living out of UAE and contributing to the economy here, and as well as with the great India UAE partnership, we are also benefiting out of that. So with that, nobody wants to leave UAE. So people who are, hearing this session wants to make, a career out from here. I think you will, once you come here, you will enjoy the place grows on you. And I think a lot of people who came initially, I mean, at least I can relate to my fellow panelists here who all initially came with the view of let's do a one contract of 2 or 3 years, eventually sort of ended up with 15, 20 or 30 years. And that's how, people have been, here, and we are enjoying this place. And so coming to the back to the topic of CEO's opportunities in UAE, with that said, I did talk about briefly earlier about the legal structure and about, the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement. The interesting part of the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement between India and the UAE was that it was the first agreement India entered with, one is UAE, and as well as the first country in the Middle East and North Africa region, and that was done in a record time. And since then, as I said, the trade flows have already crossed $80 billion, and it is expected to cross $100 billion. I think the target is about $150 billion or so in about 5 years. So that trade flow, when it happens, the goods and services included, obviously, uh, throws many opportunities, and particularly there are certain sectors which are, immensely benefiting currently, and we continue to do so. In terms of the gold and jewelry business, the pharma business, and etc. And India and UAE between themselves, they trade. India is the second largest, trader with UAE in terms of this. And 90% of India's exports to UAE, will have duty-free access in the UAE. And as you know that UAE is, a point of conduit, of for many of the exports happening from here to the rest of the world. It's a big market for trade, re-export, and etc. So obviously, this trade flow would improve that as well. In particularly, we also need to look at, the AFDI between India and UAE has been growing significantly in several billions of dollars, particularly with there has been cooperation among the governments in terms of food security, in terms of cyber security, and other areas, which is helping this as well. When the kind of relationship at the government levels are happening, the defense security and so on and so forth, the FDI exports increases. And India and UAE also have a strategic relationship in terms of the oil reserves. And I think we have built up strategic storage reserves in India for the UAE. And some of these initiatives, creates more opportunities immediately for our profession. The significant FDIs which have happened is between India and UAE is about with the Reliance, with the Adanis, and all of those, the big conglomerates, and also several others. And interestingly, the UAE is also a startup hub. The ecosystem is well developed over the last few years, and it has got its own set of unicorns here, and that is again helping many of the Indian startups, including some of the unicorns and all of those, who all want to establish their presence through the UAE as a gateway to the rest of the Gulf, Middle East, and North Africa. So that is again throwing up opportunities to our profession in terms of this area. Apart from, the big focus of from the UAE currently is onto manufacturing. So there are several, manufacturing plants across the areas being established. And over the last few years, and particularly after the 2018, and I think it's also a coincidence with the ICSI's formal opening of the UAE chapter here, there has been a significant changes in the legal regulations, governance, all of those areas, which is of particular interest to our professions. And that is, in a variety of ways, these legal systems, have changed. Some of the significant ones I can talk about is, from a UAE company law perspective. Earlier, it used to be typically UAE broadly has, a mainland structure and a free zone structure. And the UAE typically had, like in other Gulf countries, people, will have to have Emiratis, the local nationals, as their shareholder, 51% in several cases in terms of the business mostly. And that used to be the scenario. But that has significantly changed over the last 2 years, where most of these has been removed, and probably about 7 or so sectors would really require, those kind of ownership, and rest of it all has been opened up for expatriates or, non-residents, to non-nationals, rather, I would say, to sort of own the business. And that has given them a huge opportunity, to attract businesses, entrepreneurs, innovators across the globe. So that is something which has happened in the UAE. So the company law itself has got changed. And as I said earlier in my initial opening, the countries were uniquely positioned in terms of the free zones, which is about 40 odd free zones, and each of those have different set of regulations. So from a compliance perspective, one will have to, master those regulations, which again shows a lot of opportunities. Then we have had major changes with regard to the value-added tax, which again was introduced about a few years ago. VAT, I think, came into 2018, and since there's some opportunities for, with similar to GST structure in India, which has thrown opportunities for our professionals. And very recently, the corporate tax that has been there from June last year, and that again is opening up, a lot of opportunities. Apart from, the FATCA regulations, as well as the AML, anti-money laundering, data protection, all of those, recently we've also introduced in UAE called the VARA, Regulatory Authority, Virtual Assets Regulatory Authority. This is particularly targeted at, the crypto businesses, the Web3 business, and all of those. So we have seen a significant flight of innovators, disruptors from India, entrepreneurs who have come to UAE because the regulations are available here, at international regulations are available to do these businesses. So that again has helped. Needless to say, post-COVID, UAE, I think, with the visionary government, went ahead, launched the golden visa, which has, helped a lot of people, particularly who are associated with corporate bodies like I, to all of those, YPOs and all of those people, businessmen, who have been given opportunities, plus, in terms of various other categories, in terms of innovators, creative artists, so on and so forth, research scientists, everybody else, medical professionals, and etc., have been given this opportunity to do a golden visa. So a lot of people from India have sort of moved here in terms of either setting up the business or expanding their businesses, investing into the country and expanding. So that is all helping in terms of the economic growth. And you may want to know about the economic growth of UAE, where we currently stand and what we are doing. I think I briefly talked about the GDP size of the country. But in terms of the economic growth, I think UAE and India, are in the 7% bracket. That was one of the studies which came out about some months ago. So India and UAE together closely, were in the 7% bracket. But the economy of UAE has been, growing quite steadily over the last few years. In particular, the GDP, is about a 5% kind of a growth, and economy is poised further to grow with the strategic visionary, leadership. We have recently watched, the media about, the Vibrant Gujarat event, which happened about a couple of days ago, Significantly, some MOUs were signed between India and UAE again in terms of furthering the business trade, relationship. So this will all going to help, the growth of the economy, not only in India but also in UAE, which provides, more opportunities. And when such opportunities are there, I think CS professionals need to, have an open mind using, not only their existing CS qualification, but also, learning the other bits which is relevant for this particular market. And that could be, for example, I'm just saying as an AML or, any of those, data protection laws and having some specialization, compliance, and stuff. All of those or corporate tax or VAT, some of those areas where one can, learn, and not only that, perhaps a knowledge of Arabic.
Mr. Lakshman, one thing I want to say. When you move your head to the other side, no, we are not able to hear you. So your voice is completely gone at that point of time. So when you move head for this side, okay. So
are you able to hear me now?
This is better. This is the best place, your head. When you move that side, that is not, we are not.
I will continue to, stay like this still for some time till I finish. Thank you for that. I'm sorry about this. I didn't realize it. So from an opportunity point of view, I think there are immense opportunities. Of course, any opportunity, does not come by itself. Of course, there are challenges. There are a good number of professionals who have come in to UAE following their spouses and in search of jobs, and we are trying to help them as much as possible as a chapter, helping them, guiding them, where we provide network opportunities for people. I think we will dwell on these, more in detail as, the fellow panelists, speak about. Interestingly, UAE has also got arbitration centers. So that's again, something from a legal system point of view, apart from the common law and the civil law. I talked about the different jurisdiction. It has also got the arbitration centers in UAE, and that will again help across. There are multiple arbitration centers which one can, use. So that's an area of another thing. I was talking about the knowledge of Arabic. The local language always helps. So I would encourage members as well to look at, whether they can learn the language, and that could help. The point earlier made by our Mr. Chawla and Upanya ji was about, the qualification is one part, but developing the skill set. So when you look at the skill set for us as company secretary professionals, we have to, learn a number of things for us to make it, completely. And in this part of the world, perhaps like India many years ago, the word company secretary, there's no position like that. And when you say secretary, people immediately think of an executive secretary. But that has evolved over a period of time. There are listed entities, 100, 150 plus listed entities across the 3 stock exchanges are there. There are also capital market, bond markets, which are there, where, the listing happens. So you would require, legal governance professionals to do that. And UAE also, looks at investing outside. So many of the companies which are having base in the UAE is more of a regional headquarters or so. They also invest outside. So a lot of mergers and acquisitions deal happens either through the, sovereign entities like Mubadala, Adia, and all of those, but also other entities, companies, do that. So for professionals who are working in those areas or those companies, there are huge opportunities. With those 2 words, I will now invite my co-panelist, Mr. Narasimha Das, who is, a partner in Crow, one of the leading, audit and consulting firms. And Mr. Das comes with a particular background in terms of governance and compliance professional. He is also an author. He's not a company secretary, but he has been in that domain with his legal background and a compliance background, and he has also written a book, and he has got about 14 plus years of experience in the UAE alone. And I will ask now Das to say a few words about this particular opportunities for CS in the UAE. Over to you, Mr. Das.
Thank you, Mr. Lakshman. It's a good introduction. In fact, it provided a very broad overview of the market and in terms of at a higher level, what kind of, the market and industry growth and all these things. So briefly to introduce myself, for about 25 years, I was specializing in law in India, and then I moved here. And since then, I have been specializing in governance, risk management, compliance, business advisory, and all these specialty areas. I'm a regulatory partner here. And then we are probably one of the leading firms here in UAE in terms of these areas. Now, for the past 14 years, we've seen a lot of developments here and a lot of opportunities here. So to put it in a better perspective, let us try to see, what kind of opportunities a new company secretary aspiring to come here will have. Now to understand that, basically as set out by Mr. Lakshmanan, there have been a lot of legal reforms, new laws have come, and some of the new laws which are not there in India, but actually they are there in UAE are economic substance regulations, data protection regulations, the data protection law. They are not yet there in India, but they are in UAE. So when you look from the regulatory perspective, there, in addition to the changes to regulations, the regulators and government approach, as well as international standards relating to that, have changed. The significant changes there are, first of all, the regulators adopt a proactive approach. They are not reactive, they take a proactive approach. This is number one. Number two, they place a lot of importance on tone at the top, coming from the board, and also the responsibilities of senior management in terms of implementing all these regulations, all these new laws. Then they also look at the level of documentation, how things are documented. As you know very well, anything not documented, not done. The basic presumption of a regulator is if you are not properly documented something, it is not done. So, viewed from that perspective, when you look at all these legislations, they lay down a lot of emphasis on governance, risk management, and compliance aspects of the entities which are regulated or which are governed by these laws. If it is financial services industry, there is a separate set of standards that are available. If it is gold and other industries, depending on the nature of the industry, the standards may be slightly different, the approach may be slightly different. But basically, the GRC is the most important aspect that is gaining a lot of weight and significance in this region. Now, when you look at this GRC aspect, as company secretaries, you understand them very well, and your syllabus also talks about that. So even at the qualification level itself, you develop a reasonable understanding. Now, when you actually try to implement this in a practical perspective, you will be designing, in addition to, of course, advising the board and the board documentation, etc., you will be designing policies, procedures, systems, and controls. All the four aspects need to be designed and documented. Not only that, these need to be tested. That we are saying that internal audit is very important. That another area where these need to be audited and periodically enhanced to make sure that these policies, procedures, systems, and controls are working. Then the implementation of these systems and etc. should be properly documented in each case. Now, this is what the regulators look at. Let us take one example. For example, when you are looking at economic substance regulations, economic substance regulations essentially mean that there are 9 categories of businesses for which this apply, like banking, insurance, etc. And also the distribution and service center business, headquarters business, holding company business, all these businesses need to necessarily follow economic substance regulations. These regulations require that on an yearly basis, the entities need to establish that they have passed the economic substance test. One of the key elements of economic substance test is that the entities managed and directed in the UAE. So management and direction in the UAE. is the important thing. That direction obviously comes from the board. Therefore, one of the requirements is that at least one board meeting must be held within UAE, okay, where the substantially managing and directions and etc. need to be properly documented. So when it comes to that, there are a host of other evidences that regulators collect, and where they find that the managed and directed test is not passed for any financial year, then they impose any penalties. And we have seen instances where those penalties have been imposed. So when it comes to managed and directed, who else can better understand that than a company secretary? Because who actually at the board level itself, he sets up the agenda, or he assists in the documentation, the decisions taken by the board is properly recorded. Now starting from there, every aspect of managed and directed needs to be properly documented. That requires, depending on the size, nature, and complexity of the particular business, need to be done. Similarly, you take, for example, anti-money laundering legislation. It has gone so much that now today you have a lot of branches like sanctions compliance, you have got terrorism financing, and you have got other aspects relating to several international standards. So necessarily the level of documentation that's required for anti-money laundering legislation is tremendous. And on top of it, what is happening is the intervention by technology. Now today, there's so many technical products have come, which are actually meant for bringing up some efficiencies, bringing up some consistency, etc. But the difficulty with this technology for most of them is the language they use or the systems used could be entirely different from what is defined in the legislation itself. So if X means Y, then you must record somewhere X means everywhere Y. So throughout the entity, you need to have a consistent language. So all the various things. Now, this has created opportunities at different levels. What I mean by entry level, suppose beginners or fresh graduates. They get opportunities in terms of analysts or assistants, assistant managers, etc. Where they will be assisting the senior personnel in an organization. We always look for new people who are capable of doing it and who can really support us in terms of giving us the first drafts or whatever it is. Then drafting policies, procedures, systems, and controls. While policies can be drafted, maybe easier. We can take Google search and start by making some amendments there. But when it comes to grassroots systems and controls, it requires in-depth study and proper process flow, etc. that needs to be designed. That requires a deeper understanding of the business as well as the thing. Now coming to that requires actually an experience of 5 to 7 years or probably 10 years of an understanding of the business and then understanding of the legislation to really develop these things. In addition to that, you've got opportunities for senior professionals, retired people who actually come at a higher level, but they come with rich experience. They will be able to perceive the risks. They will be able to assist in terms of assessing risks properly and giving a right kind of direction and suggestions and on an advisory. So we have got, in fact, opportunities at different levels available in the UAE, but for talented people. Now, that's what I mean by talent is that the first thing what is required is to develop a kind of understanding of the business. Secondly, the understanding of the legislation. When you're understanding the legislation, as Mr. Lakshman has pointed out, you've got civil law system, you've got common law system. The interpretations in common law could be different from the civil law, and each free zone may have its own set of regulations. The financial free zones have their own set of regulations and understanding. So you need to develop and think exactly in the same way in which the regulator thinks. That is more important. So that requires a level of maturity. What I mean to say, which I often quote as an example, understanding lyrics is different from actually singing. So it makes a lot of difference. So once you develop that level of skill set, then you are fit for this particular market. And from then on, you will see a lot of growth. So there will be an initial phase, an entry phase, where you need to really put your industry to understand what the market is. The market is different here. The approach is different here. So what all you need to do is to develop a kind of an understanding that will allow you to plan your career. That is important. And once that is done, probably your growth will be much faster when compared to many other markets. That is where exactly, as Mr. Lakshman is pointing out, people are not willing to leave UAE. Because living comfort is there, you got a career growth is there, and on top of it, on account of its global nature, you don't find, even a single day that is boring. You will every day you have a new challenge now, a new issue here coming up. Overnight, suddenly, you see that you encounter something else that keeps you busy for the next week. So this is the kind of a market in which we are working, and definitely we are there to guide and help in terms of, providing the initial guidance that is required, and then PMO, as a PMO, will take active part in terms of doing that. So thank you. At this stage, I'll stop and then probably I'll take up.
Thank you, Das. I think on a lighter note, that's why you can see receding hairlines of some of the panelists here, because every day is a challenge in terms of dealing with legal governance. Das, I think your points covering the regulatory aspect and the compliance, especially since you're handling that function at Crow, I think certainly helps and add a lot of value to the session today. I now invite my co-panelist, Kavita Gujarati, a fellow qualified company secretary, as well as a lawyer and a chartered secretary from ICSA London. And she is also qualified as an anti-money laundering specialist, the CAMS examination, and working as, in the risk and compliance at a leading auditing firm, and also doing money laundering function for several of the clients. Kavita is also the founding member of the ICSI Middle East, like my other colleagues. And she has particularly 11 years of experience only in UAE and total experience of more than 20 years. So with that vintage, Kavita can bring different perspectives into the session today. Over to you, Kavita.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, neighbors. Wishing everyone a very happy and healthy new year. I thank ICSI for giving me an opportunity to share my experience and thoughts on this subject with the fellow company secretaries in India. UAE government has been taking all the initiatives to bring up UAE to the international standards. One of those initiatives is introducing ease of doing business. So they are inviting businesses from all over the world to UAE for doing businesses. Now this requires a lot of comfort level for the business community to come here and do business. It requires a good compliance environment, and that is an important place where we as company secretaries can play a role. The exciting news that Lakshman sir shared today, that UAE is topping the destinations from where the people do not want to move. One of the next news has been that Dubai is one of the top 10 destinations where maximum billionaires have moved. These billionaires come with their businesses and with new business ideas, and that is how the business community has been continuously growing in UAE. And we who work as a support to the business community, our role is also ever expanding. When I moved here in UAE as a housewife, my husband had moved for his job, and that's how I followed him and came in UAE. There was a lack of understanding of what a company secretary is. And the experiences I had at that time were really weird, in having 9 years of experience in India, and after coming here and starting from scratch, the experiences were really weird. But when I look at them now, I really feel that it was good that I did not shy away from coming to UAE, and I did not miss out on that opportunity of exploring such a beautiful country and a very different dimension to my professional career also. So from 2017, we can see every year, almost every year, new major legal development has been happening in terms of VAT. Then came the ESR regulations, then came the ultimate beneficial owner regulations, then were the AML regulations, and now the corporate tax. So this has triggered a lot of corporate restructuring, new incorporations, amendments, and this has bloomed the consultancy and advisory sector, in my opinion. We as company secretary, we always have the two options: to go in practice or to work as a whole-time company secretary in employment. So I will put light on both opportunities which we are having in UAE. Mostly people will come searching for a job, but then since company secretary is not a recognized profession like in India, in UAE, they usually get disappointed that they do not get that position, they do not get the particular job profile or a particular pay scale which they have been drawing in India. But please do not get disheartened with this. You have ample and in fact more opportunities in practice here in UAE. You can opt for a freelancer license and start your management consultancy. For the newcomers, I would advise that if you go ahead and grab an opportunity and start working in a small or medium-sized consultancy or advisory firm here in UAE, you will get a platter full of experiences and clients which will help you to decide your own professional journey in future. So don't come with the ideas or don't come with the fixed mindset that you are going to work as a company secretary in a particular company in UAE. But keep your outlook, your mindset open, that you will start with small firms where you get to understand how the business works, what are the local laws, how are the clients, what is the business culture or office culture, what different types of nationalities people you will be working here, and what will be the challenges that you are going to face. And this all will mold you to take up or to choose a particular line of expertise and take your professional journey ahead. One of the most important aspect I would like to highlight for employment is ADGM and DIFC. These are the two financial free zones operating in UAE, and they offer immense opportunities for talented professionals. Now, the financial entities under these free zones, they have to appoint a compliance officer. The appointment itself is supervised by the regulatory authorities, and the appointments are made purely based on merit. So the main criteria are the professional qualification and the experience. So there is no dearth of opportunities for company secretaries who are coming here, because we can easily fit into any compliance, any governance, or any risk related role. One more aspect I would like to add to it is that there are many laws in which we can specialize. Like, for example, taxation law is there, then you have ESR regulations, you have UBO regulations. Anti-money laundering is offering huge opportunities to compliance professionals. If you can add some certifications to your original professional qualification, it will add to your professional journey. So just don't come only with the cap of a company secretary, but try to add few feathers to your cap so that you can stand out in the crowd, and then it will be easy for you to get business opportunities or employment opportunities, whatever your inclination is in this market. One of the laws I would add to the list is employment law. Uh, Being company secretaries, we can read the laws, we can interpret it, we can advise how to apply it in the business practice. So employment law here in UAE, a huge population, expat population is employed, and that is how the employers make it a point that they will adhere to the laws, because the laws are more inclined towards the employees, and they don't want to get into fines, penalties, and suspensions of license. So if while working as a company secretary, if you add on in-depth knowledge of any of these laws, like for example employment law or ESR or any particular tax law, uh, the employer will not hesitate to give you that rise which you are looking forward in your professional career. I came from India. When I came from India, there was hardly any compliance related work that I was doing. I joined an audit firm, and I used to only work on accounting and audit assignments. But I'm today very happy to say that I'm 100% doing compliance related work. Even I have to get assistant for doing my work. So this is a complete transition I can see in the UAE market, and this gives absolutely lot of opportunities for those who want to come to UAE and explore different opportunities. So with this, I would like to stop, and I'm open for any additional questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Kavita, for sharing your experience, particularly from the angle of professional services which you've been involved with, and professionals keeping an open mind, adding qualification as feathers to their cap, and then learning the local laws and developing themselves. Well said, Kavita. I think we will dwell on these things more as we go along the session. Next, I am privileged to invite my co-panelist, Mr. Raghavendra Verma. Mr. Raghavendra Verma is a fellow company secretary who has more than 25 years of experience, and in my view, one of the most decorated company secretaries, because he has achieved many global awards in terms of being a company secretary, a champion in terms of corporate governance, in terms of best legal Falcon awards, and many other awards as a in-house lawyer as well. And Mr. Raghavendra Verma is responsible in this company, ISON Experience, which is a global company, I would say Indian multinational, if I may say so, across, it has got businesses across India, UAE, rather wider, the Gulf, Middle East and Africa. And he handles right from M&A, strategy, compliance, contracts, cybersecurity, legal, litigation, risk, regulatory, board secretary, shareholder, relationship, all of that encompassed in one role. So you can imagine, the kind of experience he has got, and that is why he's well recognized across the globe. And with this gentleman, we are very fortunate to have him today, because he is always virtually on the plane, traveling to different countries and doing deals and doing acquisitions. So this also tells you, how as a company secretary, from a professional, you can, expand from your base company secretary level to other, areas of work and, grow your career. So with that, I would request Raghavendra ji to, talk about, this topic of this opportunities for CAs in UAE.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lakshmanan. This So thanks for your nice introduction. So, and my fellow colleagues and professionals, very, very happy new and prosperous new year to you all. I know that you all want to move outside of India and want to explore UAE and particularly Dubai as a jurisdiction, whether you can, what is the opportunity for Indian Company Secretary in Dubai, particularly in Dubai and UAE overall. So firstly, I will try to cover why Dubai and then why Indian and then why Company Secretary. These three aspects, I know Mr. Lakshmanan and Mr. Das and Kavita has covered a lot of things and very few things to me to see, to speak. But again, I will try to focus on these three parts. Why Dubai first? So Dubai right now has emerged as a global business hub. If you see that, it is a unique combination of innovation and tradition. Population-wise, currently approx 10 million population of UAE, and Dubai is around 3 million population. And you will be surprised to know out of 200 nationalities living in Dubai, UAE, Indian constitute around 30% of the population. And most of this 30% population is either entrepreneur, owner of the company, or our fellow professional, whether that chartered accountant, company secretary, engine technocrats, so fellow professional. So these fellow professionals are, and we Indians are, Indian professional, entrepreneur are very much respected and recognized in UAE, this part of the world. So that's why I can tell you that Indian Company Secretary are very uniquely and positively placed in this jurisdiction. Now coming as far as we Company Secretary deal with the company. So how many company in Dubai right now? So UAE, pardon me, UAE. So the last data published I got through my research, the last data 2022, it was around 665,000 and 246 company was registered at that point of time in July 2022. I am 100% sure it should have been crossed by 700,000 by now. Dubai has a unique structure of the mainland company and the free zone company. Mainland company is covered by the federal law, and free zone company also covered by the federal law, and there are other laws also govern this free zone company. And out in all 44 free zone, around 200,000 company currently is registered. I have just taken how many licenses has been registered in this jurisdiction, and from that this data is. Free zone vary in the focus, setup cost, and paperwork needed. As Mr. Das said, the paperwork is very important here. So almost each of the free zone has its own company law and one set of company law, and there's few set of their own other law also. Federal law in any way is applicable to them. So you can see that the 40 company law itself in entire UAE, and we company secretary are expert in the company law. We know that the company law is our forte. So 40 company law, 40 free zone, 44 free zone, you can think about how much opportunity is available for us here. DIEFC, the Dubai is only free zone which has its own civil and commercial law here, and that is not covered as per the so UAE is basically the federal law governed by the civil law, mainly brought from that Egyptian law legal system. But the IEFC is a only free zone that operates as the common law, like we Indian needs the common law, and the IFC has its own civil and commercial legal system. So again, a lot of this is the financial hub of Dubai, UAE, and again there is lot of opportunity for us. Now, Kavita touch about that company secretary in the professor and company secretary in the company. Now I deal with the professional part here. So the federal government has made a goal to make UAE the complete entrepreneurial nation by 2031. Their target is to create 10 unicorns startup by 2031 and make UAE as on one of the top 3 countries in the global entrepreneurship index. So you can see that we have a lot of opportunity as an entrepreneur, if you want to establish your professional setup over here, want to do the practice, you can easily come here and do so. And how government is supporting this policy? So there is a national agenda they have developed to support entrepreneurs. 10 plus key government program for that. 100% foreign ownership of the company has been allowed for that. Golden visa that Mr. Lakshman has mentioned about the golden visa. Golden visa is something like you say that the PR for Canada. We always talk about the permanent resident for the Canada. Here is a 5-year visa or 10-year visa subject to your qualification. So that's the golden visa. And then the free zone integrated business communities. So they have created, UAE has created a tremendous environment for the business to grow. Business, either you are in the company want to take a position in the company or you want to establish your own business. What happened in last few years also, that the regulatory landscape has changed a lot. Mr. Das has mentioned, Kavita has mentioned, Mr. Lakshmanan has also mentioned, but I also want to mention, because where is the new law, there is a compliance, there is a other formality, and where we company secretary comes into the picture. New law, new compliances, we are there. So if you see that data privacy law, there is 2 data privacy laws separately marked here, basically 3. One is covering the federal law, UAE, then the data privacy law for DIFC is the separate, and ADG Abu Dhabi market is a separate data privacy law. That anti-money laundering law, economic substance report requirement, ESG. Just now Dubai has completed COP 2028. So ESG itself is a big platform that offers us a lot of opportunity, like in ESG environment law, the social part, the S part covers social, where we have to the labor law compliances and the DEI compliances, and governance part, that is the again I am coming to our core forte, the governance part that covers the IFC corporate governance norms. And most of the company, now I take care of the investment in my company, and one of the major requirement for me to comply with the IFC corporate governance norm, there is four part of that. This is a very robust corporate governance practice, and you can proactively suggest your board of directors, your promoter, that you should adopt this corporate governance practice that is IFC has described. Then coming to the KYC, Dubai, the KYC, you all know this is the normal norms these days. Cryptocurrency or crypto platform, the crypto exchange. Dubai is the first country, I believe so, that's come with that guideline of the crypto and virtual currency. So these changes reflect the nation's commitment to aligning the internal standard at attracting global business. And for company secretary like us, this evolving regulatory environment on one side is provide the challenges, and other side is provide also the opportunity. How we can navigate these changes, ensuring compliance while strategically advising our corporation is depend on us. So I will the one other sector part I want to discuss here briefly. I know this timeline is nearing, so one briefly. Earlier, UAE main focus was on the oil, and the main revenue generation was the oil only. But country has realized and is diversifies its economy beyond all. And now they're moving to the sector like technology, tourism, BFSI sector is booming here. Most of that financial business is coming here. Banking are making their regional hubs here in UAE. So diversification of the UAE economy also provide a ample opportunity us as a company secretary uh, because this all changes bringing the new law, this complex transition, complex law, only we can support the business here through our knowledge that we get from the company secretary course in India. Then the other part is the technological advancement like artificial intelligence and the blockchain. So we need to focus on, you need to be technology savvy. You need to impress this technology that provides a greater efficiency and really add value in your business. Really add value to your delivery. I will say that your delivery. Your task will become very easy. I am using some technology and I know that how much is helping me as far as the contract drafting is concerned and or other part of the compliance like GRC has been mentioned in the beginning. So governance risk compliances, I am using few platform and I am handling around 42 countries compliances right now. And this technological platform has made my task a lot easy. So when we talk about opportunity, you also need to talk about what we need to adopt, what we need to 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 upgrade our skill or competency to match with this requirement of this jurisdiction. Because company secretary, we in India we did an Indian company law. That Indian company law, when we move outside India, that is not going to be applicable here. Indian law is in any way not going to applicable here. So what need to be done here? So so we need to upgrade our skill on ongoing basis. Ongoing basis. I can tell you and I with the 100% certainty that the cost of the company secretary that the way it is designed, it give us very good analytical skill, interpretation skill, as far as the governance is concerned, this is uniquely placed. Uh, I have a business in Kenya. I'm telling you my experience in 2015, 2016. Kenya also has the one institute that take care of their secretarial practice compliance requirement there. And I have a two company there. One take care of the customer care, other take care of the technology. And we participated in one annual governance champion of the governance award there. And you will be surprised to know one of my company won that best prize, and second one the runner-up. So both of the two prize I got it because of my experience with the India our company secretary. I'm really telling you this the course is designed that the insight we get from our company secretary course in India, that is amazing. But having said that, when we are going beyond to our border, we are reaching to UAE and any part of the world. We need to, and then the main focus is, our focus is the law and the regulatory and the compliance. And then we need to know the regulatory system of that jurisdiction, need to know the law of that country. That only we can flourish. That only we can flourish. Otherwise, if we are stuck in that Indian mindset, the Indian company law is not going to help. So likewise, if you are going to wanted to come to Dubai, UAE, then you need to read the law of this land. You need to upgrade your skill there. Two points I want to mention also here, as far as the opportunity is concerned. A lot of family houses is here. Their investment is huge in many businesses. And as a compliance professional, we are taking care of many of my friends who are not the qualified company secretary are right now doing their compliance as far as the investment is concerned. So if we company secretary come and 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 come and grab this opportunity of the managing the family house. The sky is the limit. The sky is the limit. You get the best money as a salary, and the second is Dubai is also one of the used to be one of the tax haven, and many holding company across globe is based in UAE. Many holding companies. So so when you are here, you will be managing the company which is subsidiary of the UAE Dubai-based companies in all of the Africa, India, or other part of the world. So that will give you also uh, the great opportunity to grow in life. But I said you need to upgrade your skill. You don't need the skill on the basis of what you learned in India in our institute. That's the paramount. That's the paramount. Without that, you cannot flourish in this part of the world. Because I personally read that the company law and labor law of all these 40 countries where I am right now looking. Company law I know of these all 40 countries. Labor law I know of these all 40 countries. Compliances anyway it comes from the company law. So there is no other choice of there is no shortcut. Hard work is only the way forward if you want to move. Second part is the language and the culture of where you are going. The UAE is the very different culture from Indian culture. Very open, very accommodative, but at the same time restrictive also. So when you are moving here, you need to respect the culture of this jurisdiction. That's very important, culture-wise. And then the language of this country. So legal system is, other than the DIFC, the code legal system and the law is also in the Arabic. So what we are doing right now, this is our shortcoming, reading the law that is getting translated into the English. But I am 100% sure any translation is not as good as is the original version that is in Arabic. So if you want to have the proper understanding of the law, then we need to learn the Arabic. No alternative of that. Because English translation, I am sure that it's not 100% perfect translation. So for UAE, Arabic language, learning the Arabic language is one of the basic requirement to flourish here, to grow here. Most of that the honor of the local Emirati, although they know English very well English, but they prefer the Arabic because that is their tradition. They value their culture, they value their tradition, so they prefer the Arabic language. So and all the documents or the legal documents comes into the Arabic from the court, judgment, anything. And now you need as a reporting to the board or reporting to the owner of the company, you need to take this Arabic paper to them and to explain what is written there. So that's also require you to learn the Arabic. So I can tell you there is a lot of opportunity because of the government policy, because of the all the one of the major business hub, new regulation, new law, but at the same time challenges are there. Very competitive market, professional across 200 countries are here, very competitive environment. So if we want to stand out of the crowd, we need to adopt these skills. Thank you, Mr. Lekman. So from this, I want to just stop myself because this is my favorite subject, because whatever I am because of this profession only. So I know my fellow professional, all my fellow colleagues would also reach to that position. So or beyond me, go beyond me. But
thank you, Raghavendra, for your words of wisdom. I think that sums up your incredible, the experience which you had over the last 25 years. I would now, over the next half an hour, we are, I think, we are scheduled to close in another half an hour. So the way I would like to do this, a bit of discussion on some of the points which the co-panelists have mentioned, and also there are a few questions which have come already, on the chat box. So we will address those questions. So I would like to now ask the co-panelist, from coming from India as a company secretary, there's one company law, and of course, there are various state level, legislations, regulations, and etc. you follow. And you come into a place like UAE, we already talked about different structures of mainland and free zones, and in particular, if you zone two different, financial centers, common law, civil law, all of those complexities. How would this, as a company secretary coming out from India, how will they have to navigate? One, from a professional perspective, they want to take up an employment. Two, if they want to come and practice here. So I would leave the floor open. Maybe Das, you can start because you have been, as a practicing professional. Maybe if you can respond, Das.
Yeah, I think Kavita has neatly covered it entirely this thing, but I'll just repeat it. What she has suggested, anybody who is coming to the market, it is better initially to join some consultancy firm where daily you will face with different clients, different businesses, etc. That will help you in developing a broader understanding. I always say that there are two parts to our this thing. One is extensive reading and understanding. Another is intensive reading. What I mean by extensive is reading everything that you come across. Okay, whether it's related to the subject or not, it may relate to anything, just read. The other is intensive, is the area in which you are specializing, you need to go really deep and understand. Now, what is your criteria for doing intensive research? It depends on how much remuneration you get to use the fundamental criteria. There is no point in doing research in a matter where you don't get money. I mean, it's as simple as coming all the way from India to here. One of the three criteria will be how much money you will make. So viewed from that perspective, you should concentrate on it. Now, in a highly dynamic environment like this, where there is a lot of competition as mentioned by Raghavendra Verma, you should place yourself in a situation where you are able to show your competitive advantage. That's where the talent lies. You should be able to talk or give something additional more than what Google is giving already. So that is what is required. If you are doing a Google research and giving that report to the client will not appreciate, obviously. So for new people who are coming here who want to understand the diversity of the magnitude of the business, etc., it's better to join a consultancy firm and understand. And while there's a lot of diversification is there, and then a lot of number of laws are there, they are more or less similar. At a broader level, they are more similar. When you are actually interpreting legal rights or obligations relating to a particular dispute or something, probably it would require more intensive interpretation. So at a procedural level or at a documentation level, you can consider that more or less the various legislations that are there, which may be acting parallelly, or there could be slight overlap with each other. They don't really create a conflict situation where you're confused. So the only thing is what is required here is a bit of maturity in terms of understanding that comes only when you understand what the business is, what the business wants, and what is exactly the requirement you are targeting to fulfill. So I will put it in a more slightly on this particular note. No doubt there are hundreds of these things are there. Sometimes things on the face of it may look confusing, but if you read twice, thrice, or 4 times, you will find that okay, this is how I can manage this.
Thank you, Das. Appreciate. Kavita, over to you. The regulations have evolved in UAE, and obviously, as the founding member of the chapter, you are inundated with requests from members wanting to navigate and get a foothold in the market here. At the same time, from a professional perspective, company secretary as a qualification from a recognition perspective, it is different, unlike in India, which we talked about. How does, how can our company secretaries from India, particularly with especially a multicultural environment, which is a country which goes over 200 plus nationalities, there are also equally governance, legal professionals from parts of the Arab world to, from UK, Australia, and other locations. How do you think our Indian company secretary should approach this? Is getting in touch with the institute, as a starting point, or networking? What are the things you would, suggest to these company secretaries looking for a career opportunities here?
For the company secretaries who are planning of moving to UAE, my first suggestion would be expect less and absorb more. So the expectations we come from India really narrow down our opportunities. And I want a job like this, or I want a pay scale like this, or a profile like this, or an organization like this. These restrictions will narrow down the opportunities. So it's better you come with an open slate and try to observe and absorb as much as you can. Obviously, when you land in a foreign territory, first thing is we are always there. ICSI, NPIO, the basic objective of NPIO is furthering the company secretary profession in Middle East region. So they can approach us, they can write to us, they can become a part of our networking group. So networking will play a very, very important role. Apart from your professional qualifications or any particular expertise you're having, showcasing it to the community here, approaching the right people will help them to get onto that professional path in a correct way. So networking plays a very important role, and networking has that multiplying effect that you told one person about your requirement or your skill, but then it will reach to 10-15 people. So that has a multiplying effect, networking, which they should take help of. And once they become part of the NPIO group, then we are having continuous events. We have our official WhatsApp group on which we are sharing the opportunities that are available. Our senior members are always guiding the newcomers, or in day-to-day life also, whatever queries we are having while doing the work or where we are stuck, we are addressing our queries on the group, and we are getting the guidance from the senior members as well as other fellow professionals. So even if there is a lot of competition from other countries, because those people are also coming here in search of opportunities, we Indians can always unite and come together and promote our company secretary profession and our fellow members in this region. So the best would be networking would be the first step, and second would be like reading the laws. Ministry of Finance and Ministry of Economy is on their websites. You will get each and every law in English, and the other resources, like they are having extensive videos and guides on each law and topic. So if you can go through that, then it will prepare you for the new laws that you are going to face. And of course, first reading will just give you a glimpse, but regular reading and interacting with your professional colleagues will help you to actually grasp them and apply in the professional work that you are doing.
Thank you, Kavita. Raghavendra, you have considerable experience in the market. The questions coming on, do we need to complete any course or any membership of any institute in the UAE to be a company secretary? And if so, what are the whether our qualification will be recognized. So can you throw some light, Raghavendra?
Yeah, sure. So before that, I want to add what Kavita said, that from the institute level also, institute is trying very hard to get our company secretary profession recognized here, and and we are also ICSI NPIO, Mr. Lakshman, chairman. He is also in touch with the regulator here to get our company secretary profession recognized here. Last time I remember that our chairman from India came and he met to the Abu Dhabi regulator and discuss about to get this recognition done. So on the institute level, institute is also doing a lot to get this to this qualification recognized here. But I would say that uh, coming to that now your question, Lakshmana. So as such, UAE has no minimum requirement for being a company secretary. No, no minimum requirement. There is a body that's called Hukuma perhaps, and from that you get a 3 month course, and you can be the company secretary of any company here. But that is not of the standard that we company secretary get in India. So there, as such, there is no minimum requirement for being a company secretary in UAE. But one thing is there, you must know when you are coming here and becoming a company secretary here, you must know the law of the land. Because we, as a company secretary, first doing the company law compliances, conducting the board meeting. I'm just saying that basic things. We should not limit ourselves, because if we limit ourselves with the conducting board meeting or preparing the minutes, that there is no opportunity here at all. So we should go beyond that and learn the law of the land and mingle with the people here, like Kavita said, the networking. That's the important here. One thing I tell you, I mentioned in my introductory also, the Indian professionals are very much respected. Mr. Lakshmanan in here, Mr. Das is here for so long, very much respected and recognized. So as an Indian professional, you will be respected, recognized, but on the preliminary and the starting. After that, you have to show your skill, or you have to show your competence to grow in the market.
Thank you, Raghavendra. I am mindful of the time, another 15 minutes to go. So I think we can keep a lot of questions are flowing in. So if we can, provide a brief response to the questions, I would appreciate. My next question is to Das. You spoke about, AML, and there is importance of AML and the opportunities. Is there any particular course, Das, you would suggest for, company secretaries to acquire to get themselves, this AML qualified, and perhaps improve their employment opportunities?
So specifically, there are certain qualifications or recognized camps which actually provide at a higher level the right kind of qualification which many employers look into. Even regulators also look into. If they don't have a camps, still a qualification in law will do. Okay, because law also has that kind of flavor. So I would recommend either to have a camps or law qualification. That would actually help in terms of aim.
Thank you. Raghavendra, I think just to add to your earlier point, the UK NARIC has also developed an equivalency for recognizing our qualification as a master's in UAE. So I guess that also would help, for our profession. But specifically, I think in your address, talked about ESG, CSR, and all of that. Now, are there any specific laws in UAE which, as a company secretary, need to be aware? Particularly, UAE held recently the COP28, where the world leaders attended and made a lot of declaration and announcement. So do you think that, there are some regulations which we need to address for listed entities as well as for unlisted entities?
See, ESG basically, as I mentioned also previously, ESG is not a single law. ESG, environment, social, and governance. So this is a combination of three parts. That's that. So environment law, there is an environment law in UAE. Law describe there is a law for the environment protection in UAE. Then there is a labor law in UAE that take care of the social part. And governance part, yeah, there's a company law that deal with the governance part of that the company, how to govern the company. That not too robust like India, but yeah, is there. So we need to have combination of all these three to understand the ESG part. CSR still, yeah, UAE government has the CSR mandate to the companies. Is not compulsory for the time being, but I believe this is going to be compulsory in next few years with the government. The UAE government is adopting the international practices like never before, and I'm sure that's going to be.
Thank you. Kavita, ICSI
One thing I add here that for Indian Company Secretaryship, sorry, I'm mindful of the time, but one thing I missed here last time, so just want to add. So as I said this is going to be the hub of the financial activity the UAE is going to be. So for Indian Company Secretaryship, as far as one is part of any merger and acquisition or any investment, there is a part of the financial person and the lawyer. But at the same time, lawyer limited itself to the drafting of the agreement only. But after that, all the due diligence, the basic due diligence, and all other activity, plenty of work for the company secretary is there in any investment exercise, in any merger and acquisition, and UAE is now becoming hub. I request Mr. Lakshman to, because he's very much involved into that, to put on some light. Is hub right now, already hub, and its activity is increasing day by day.
Thank you. Kavita, ICSI conducts a number of programs for, in terms of professional development for its members. Particularly, it conducts the PMQ course, internal audit, ESG, certifications. And I think recently we did one on the taxation as well in UAE. One of the questions is, does these courses help to find a job in UAE, or is that, they have to do something else as well? What do you recommend?
Yes, if you are showing any additional skills, and if you add those certifications, you are doing any additional training courses, that will add to your CV. But the thing is that only doing the courses will not help you. Only getting the certifications will not help you. When you actually start the work, you should be able to translate into application. So be mindful when you choose the courses. What is your area of specialization, interest? What is your inclination? Or right now, if you are already in a job, what are the requirements of the employer? Accordingly, choose the courses. There are many local institutes also here providing the certifications and courses, but they will not have that depth. So I would first prefer that the post membership qualification courses provided by our institute. Please go for that. And then if any particular area is not covered by that, then you can go for any international certification. I would always advise to go for an international certification, like pointed out by Das sir, like ACAMS. So in AML, that is that is regarded as a benchmark, at least in UAE market. So it will not be a waste of time and money for you, just running behind the certificate courses and trainings.
I think particularly, Kavita, I think the point you made about ACAMS, you and Das, I was told that, when you get appointed as a compliance officer in the DIFC or the ADGM, the financial centers, you could, because the approval is done on an individual basis based on your qualification and experience. And I believe you can also do about 5 companies you can be, being a compliance officer. So that approval entitles you to do for 5 entities, which I think is a very good move for individuals to have a career like that.
Yes, certainly it is. And as I told you, both the regulatories are very thorough with their procedures. So those who are really professional in their approach, talented, they will not be disappointed working with these jurisdictions.
Thank you. Das, with your considerable experience, how do we achieve a perfect governance amid this ever changing laws and regulations? Can you please throw some light?
Yes. So there is no concept of perfect governance of 100% in these areas. Considering, how the different people perceive certain things are in a highly dynamic environment. What you can achieve to near perfection is once you think how the regulator is likely to think, or how the business is likely to think, and to that extent, you will be able to achieve a level of governance, or what that meets the requirements. And at the same time, we should not overdo things also that can actually kill the business. So which itself can be counterproductive. So we need to balance that. That comes by a level of maturity. That exactly what Kavita has said. Interaction with other co-professionals is very important to know how they are doing things.
Thank you, Das. I think we seem to be flooded with questions. So I think with your permission, if I can extend it by 10 minutes in terms of this thing, would that be okay for the panelists?
I think I need to put a hard stop because I have to head for a meeting outside here.
Right. So I will take Das as quickly as possible, but then if you need to exit at some point in time, please let us know. But we'll extend it by, we are about 3:25 local time. So we have to finish in 5 minutes, but I would extend it by, another 10 minutes to finish at 3:40 p.m. local time. So with that permission, I move on to the next set of questions, somebody having, 35, 40 years, age, with the mid-level, 10, 15 years of experience in India, wanting to come to UAE and look for opportunities, right? As I think there's a lot of people, in that segment, as I say, sometimes a mid-level career crisis or, wanting to look at some opportunities and move on. The question is it too old to move, Raghavendra?
No, not exactly. The 35 years is very young age. So, but as it has been discussed here, when you are moving here, like Kavita said, very well said, that expect less, and you have to work very hard here, because see, you are coming with that with the background of the Indian law. Whenever you talk about law with compliances, basically in any compliances, back of the compliances is the legal system and the law. So when you are coming with here with the knowledge of the Indian law, that's not going to work here. You have to have the knowledge of the UAE law, the law of the land. That's and which sector you are working. So that's basically the paramount. Otherwise, you will get the job. After some time, you get frustrated that you are, because you will not be able to deliver up to your capability. So enhance the skill. Come here. There's a lot of opportunity, but enhance the skill. Enhance your skill as well as the technology adaptability must be there, because UAE is adopting technology like no other country is adopting. So you should come with that.
Thank you, Raghavendra. I know, Das, you have only a few more minutes, so I will rather give you one more question before you decide to exit, and then I will come back to Raghavendra and Kavita with the rest of the questions. What are some of the growing areas of practice currently? Is it the flavor of the month? Is there any particular areas, Das, where things are growing? You talked about crypto, Vara, and all of that. Which are the growing areas currently in the UAE economy for us CS professionals?
So definitely virtual assets is the area to look into. virtual assets and technology is going to be the future. And then lot of regulations, lot of complexities and challenges are there in these areas. No doubt it requires a lot of effort considering learning is required. So this I would say should be the focus area in the next 10 years.
Thank you, Das.
Thank
Kavita,
you.
over to you now. The pandemic has had an impact, across the globe. UAE was one of the first few countries in the world, probably I would say the first country in the world to open up with a visionary leadership. Have you seen any impact of this pandemic bringing some new dimensions to the laws and regulations of the governance practices or the risk management in businesses? You're obviously at a good position to see this. I would say a kind of a helicopter view when you are, looking at business from auditing, consulting, one of the leading firms. How do you look at this, Kavita?
UAE has been one of the most resilient country, I would say, having the COVID experienced here, because when the whole world was still struggling, we had already started whole time work in office. So obviously, yes, even though we survived through COVID very well in this country, a lot of after effects we are still having for COVID. Some are good, some are bad. But I would like to highlight the good ones. Now it has taken away the earlier we used to grew down to the geography. That has gone, and everything has become completely borderless now. So anybody sitting anywhere in the world can do any type of assignment. That type of confidence or that type of mindset has brought in by COVID, and it has opened up a lot of business opportunities also. So in fact, I would go ahead one step and say that a person still sitting in India can take a few assignments from the UAE market. That is what COVID has gifted us. Yeah, work from home is another aspect which is there, but it has thrown a lot of challenges also. Work from home culture has thrown a lot of challenges. But business as such has, I think, gained a lot with these borderless interactions that are happening, and the geographies have broken down. So I think that is a good takeaway from COVID, what we have all learned.
Das, assuming you are still on the bridge, one last question before you leave.
No, he is not here. He is not here. He is not.
He is already okay. I will now pass the question back to Raghavendra. Are there any other international certification courses apart from CAMS, AML we talked about, which as a company secretary could pursue internationally? Anything in specific?
So this question is specific to the AML related or any other all certificate?
No, any other international certification on governance or anything which would help the company secretary to sort of take the career off internationally?
Yeah, so one certification I would like to mention that like this CAM certificate is an international certificate. This is a global association, and the certification you are getting, that is the international certificate. So the data privacy, this very well recognized US-based organization is called International Association of Privacy Professionals, IAPP. That give the certification for CIPP, different jurisdiction, like for Europe, GDPR, they are giving the separate certification. For Asia Pacific, they are giving the different certification, and then for US, they are giving the different certification. So IAPP for GDPR, I will suggest our professional, our company secretary to get that certification from the data privacy point of view, because this is the widely recognized certification, and most of the world data privacy law is based on the GDPR knowledge. So you can, when you are doing the GDPR, getting the expert in the GDPR, then you are becoming expert in all worldwide, all the data privacy law. I will suggest get and go and check the IAPP, International Association of Privacy Professional, and at least get the CIPP/E. E means Europe certification.
Thank you, Raghavendra. I think we can also
I
add.
would like to, yeah, yes.
Sorry, Kavita, go
I
ahead.
would like to add, yes.
Yeah, please.
Our
Yeah.
institute is having MOU with ICSA. Earlier it was known as ICSA, the Corporate Governance Institute of UK. So I have seen that many companies are asking for ICSA qualified company secretaries also. So if you are interested, you can also get that additional membership of ICSA. And I mean, since we are having MOU, it will be easy for our members to get that because we get a lot of exemption for few subjects. So that is
Yeah,
one
this
more
is the
additional.
the name is now the CGI. It's not ICS. The name is the CGI Corporate Governance Institute, and I believe only Kavita, only 2 paper now. Indian Company Secretary has to give only 2 paper to qualify there. No,
Yes, yes,
only 2 paper. Yeah.
only
I
two
think
people.
in addition to what you mentioned, I would also add, I'm filling the role of class there, ICGN or, some of those international corporate governance networks or, IOD, equivalent Institute of Directors kind of, entities. Also, people could look at being members there. In addition, that could help because that will also give them an opportunity to look at, internationally what is happening in terms of governance standards and etc. I think the institute has also done a fantastic job of, taking the profession global by, having alliances, cooperation, collaboration, whatever choice of words you want to talk about with some of the institutes overseas, either Malaysia or other location. I think one should not only look at base Indian qualification of CS, but also look at some of the others to add, themselves, which are enriched. And as a company secretary, because you are very closely working at the board level, you may also want, you have a fantastic view, helicopter view of the business. So one could also perhaps look at risk management as an area, because governance, risk, and compliance together, that could be another area. And there are specific risk management courses are also available, which could, add, value to the profession. I am mindful that the extension are another 5 more minutes left. So I will, there is a question on which are the
Sir, one thing also I want to add here. Sorry to interrupt you. One thing also. Just now, our institute has the MOU with that CISI, the Chartered Institute for the Securities and Investment, and our member can be the member of that CISI without any examination. So that's a very good opportunity for them also. This name is CISI, Chartered Institute for the Securities and Investment.
Fantastic. So that gives opportunities for people to work in that area as well, apart from many other areas. One of the questions asked is, are there few preferred job sites or Indian platform for opportunities in UAE? I think that I would not go and actively promote any particular sites here, but I think once you, either you do your search using whichever search engine you want to use, I'm sure you will find many platforms or, dedicatedly headhunting firms, sourcing firms which are, hiring. And we have also seen increasingly the local entities in UAE, some of them reaching out to the chapter, to the, the committee members and asking, we want to hire, company secretaries with this kind of certain experience and background. So we have been actively, sharing that with the members of the chapter here. And one of the things which we have done, which some of us CS professionals we want to notice, the membership with the ICSI Middle East chapter not only includes qualified company secretary professionals, it also includes, people who are pursuing the course or people who have pursued the course, but, either did not complete or did not complete to such an extent to get an associate, membership, and as well as other legal and other professionals, governance, other professional bodies are also included. So those who are listening to this program If you are, not necessarily a qualified company secretary professional from India, you can also be part of the chapter by paying the membership fees, relevant fees. And that will also help you to, expand and look opportunities and network and be part of the professional development programs which we conduct on a monthly basis. So that is what I would say. One last comment from both of you, it's like kind of a rapid fire. You know, what are the key challenges faced by company secretaries? 1 minute, please, for each one of you. Who wants to go first? What are the key challenges faced by company secretaries here?
So are you saying specific to the UAE or overall?
Yes, to the UAE.
The awareness among the business community about the compliances.
Kavita?
I would say that in public domain, earlier we used to have a very little resources, and that's how we used to get stuck. Nowadays that it is changing, but that is how that has been a biggest challenge, that access to the laws and expert opinion or getting clarifications for our queries, which happens very smoothly in India, we used to miss here. But now slowly, I think this government will also pick up on that, and then we will be having a very well-defined legal environment where we can have full access to the laws and clarifications from the government.
Raghavendra, can we do freelance work from India?
Yeah, we can do the freelance work from the India. And one thing also I want to add, like Kavita was mentioning about the pandemic impact. So that in 2022 labor law of the UAE enabled that came with the one visa is called remote working visa. So even if sitting in Dubai, you can take the work you can do the work for India or any part of the world. So that's also there. Remote working visa is there, and we can support business from India also, Dubai business.
I think UAE also allows, freelance as a permit, for people to come and experience the country and do some freelance work. They also give you a license, which is, I think I would say cost effective for people to come and do this freelance work permit license.
Freelancer visa is also there, yeah.
Kavita, is it mandatory for listed companies in UAE to appoint a company secretary?
Yes, for listed companies, yes, it is mandatory to appoint a company secretary. But it has been like they have been preferring UAE nationals for that. However, we expect to change this picture over a period of time as more companies get listed. And we are trying at institute level also to get our CS profession recognized, so that we as company secretary can also be appointed for those listed companies.
Thank you, Kavita and Raghavendra and Das. So I think we have come to the close, and I will do also the concluding remarks as a vote of thanks. Thank you for all the attendees attending. I know there are so many questions still coming in. Obviously, we're already 2 hours and 10 minutes on the session, and I think we have created a new record of about 3,800 plus, I think, attendees attending this. Thank you very much for the support. Thank you ICSI for organizing this and inviting us speakers. We are really honored as ICSI Middle East, founding members, to be part of this and share our thoughts and experience. It is not only in summary, it is not only a company secretary role which we do. There are quite a number of areas in legal governance, which can be done, or money laundering, compliance, and other areas. So there are opportunities in different ways. Do reach out to us through the ICSI Middle East email address if you have any specific queries. We also have a LinkedIn page on that, and if there are any things we would share there as well. We will continue to build up what we are doing. But good luck and best wishes for the new year for all those people who are attending and those who couldn't attend. And with that, we come to a conclusion. Thank you very much once again for all your contribution and questions which came along. Thank you. We are exiting the webinar now.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. All the best.
Thank you, everyone, and Happy New Year. All the best.